It's time to spotlight Tesla after its quarterly reports. You remember that they pushed back the robo-taxi date from that big 8/8 celebratory day everybody was waiting for. Now it's in October. Hatem Dhiab's with us, Managing Partner, Gerber Kawasaki Wealth Investment Management. We're seeing Tesla down about 11% today. Now, over at Gerber Kawasaki, you and Ross Gerber have also been very hesitant about Tesla overall. You have certainly not been recommending the stock. I don't know if you held on to some, pared back. What'd you do with the stock? Right now it's at 218.
Hey, Nicole, how are you? It's a tough one, you know. I think you're a growth company like Tesla trading at 60 times PE, and then you're not growing. You know, you missed your numbers 4 consecutive quarters, at least the estimates. 2 quarters of revenues going down. I think it's tough to still own the stock or buy the stock when you don't see the growth in the short term.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, a lot of folks writing today about the robo-taxi and the lack of clarity there, and maybe some of the analysts saying that they want to step aside. They may like the long-term story, but they want to wait and see. What do you think of that?
You know, it's a show me story, not a tell me story. I think Elon got away a lot with, hey, look at this long term thing that is robotaxi. But at the end of the day, they're in the business of selling EVs at high margins, and they're not doing that right now. Yeah, hopefully robotaxis will happen, but that's not gonna bring some economic positives to Tesla till maybe 3, 4, 5 years out. In the short term, they basically making less money on every car they sell. They can't sell cars. So, and I think that's what investors are looking for is how are you going to change that? How are you going to increase your margins? How are you going to sell more cars? There's a lot of capacity right now for Tesla, and they're not utilizing all of their abilities to make cars. So I think those are the things. Long term, hopefully, yeah, robotaxi will work out, but it's a long term story.
Yeah. You know, when you think about Tesla overall, and the political story now that goes with it. You know that Elon Musk has said publicly he's willing to support the Trump administration and their plight, and they're, you know, going for the presidency once again, $45 million a month. But what's interesting is while Tesla was touting the record revenue, quarterly revenues that they saw this past quarter, some of it came from standardizing GHC, ZEV, those standardizations that actually the Trump administration plans to probably get rid of because they're less into climate change and green deals and things like that. So it's funny because he's saying one thing but probably needs the other.
It's so funny. I'm glad you said that because half of profits for Tesla came from these regulatory credits, right? What those are basically is other OEMs who are unable to hit their targets, their emission targets, have to go and buy credits from Tesla to meet those regulatory requirements that are usually pushed by the left. Now Trump and if he gets elected would want to take these credits away. So that would hurt Tesla incredibly. So for me, it was the cognitive dissonance around that was really interesting. For one reason, Tesla's mission is really to help with green emissions, to help basically electrify the whole car fleet. So for them not to acknowledge that and really change the I don't know, it was just weird. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? I mean, this is sort of seeming like the case of stay true to thine own self. I mean, because he bought Twitter because he wanted freedom of speech, took a loss on that. He's supporting the Trump administration because he, I guess, likes the policies, likes the rhetoric that comes out of the right a little more. But again, being true to himself and less to Tesla shareholders. He's still true to himself in that he's making a car that is, when you talk about the emissions and better for the planet and all that, because he is a believer in that, but he doesn't really care about all the profits that would be made if he were to vote left. Is that a character flaw or a character good thing?
Nobody accused Elon of being a normal person who's very understandable. I think is problematic in general. Politics in general are tough, right? I live in California. There is a lot of people who don't want to buy Teslas anymore because of the way that he's going about his political views. Uh, Twitter, I think, is bigger problem because the destruction that that created is really massive. I think everyone is can have their own views, but ultimately, if you're trying to sell cars, really pissing off half of the population just doesn't help.
Yeah, I really can't get over how raccoons are trying to break into the Teslas. When you put a Tesla Cybertruck next to a dumpster from the side, they really do look a little bit alike. And if you're a raccoon at night, you really may think that a Cybertruck is a dumpster. And they have actually had to deal with this unexpected challenge. I mean, the other challenge is, getting the Cybertrucks out and getting them made and delivered.
Too bad raccoons don't have. Too bad raccoons don't have 120 grand.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe they did say the bed vault is raccoon proof in case you own one. But where do you see, is the Cybertruck the savior for Tesla? What's the savior for Tesla that you would say I would buy it now? Because right now you're not buying it. What's going to be the game changer for you?
Listen, raccoons aside, the Cybertruck is definitely an acquired taste. The car itself, you either love it or hate it. It's definitely not a mass market car. It's hard to drive. It's too big to park. There's a lot of flaws with them. It's too loud inside the cabin. So I don't think it's a mass car. The reality is we need to get more updated Y and 3. The reality is the lineup is stale for the 3 and Y, which is really what their mass production car.
Yeah.
And people are not buying the car because they're not differentiated from the old 3s and Ys. So I think that's what they need to focus on.
Yeah. Look, there are a lot of other automakers that we're showing here along the sidebar. Very quickly, Hatem, are there any car makers here or abroad that you would say buy?
I mean, we like Tesla because it's not really a true car maker for a long time with the margins that they have. But we don't like any of the other firms. We're looking a little bit at Rivian right now because they're doing well and they've had some interesting moves the last few weeks. But we're not really buying a ton of car makers right now.
Right. So you're not pounding the table on that. Hatem Dhiab, Gerber Kawasaki Wealth Investment Management. Great to see you. Thank you so much. Always nice to have you on the show. Appreciate it.